It's time we move on to the blockbuster Super Sunday, and it's between Sunrisers Hyderabad versus the Gujarat Titans at the Narendra Modi Stadium. We have the day game today. Then we have Chennai versus DC at Vizag. Blockbuster Super Sunday. We'll focus on the first game. I have Gurpal Ji with me. Gurpal Ji, GT versus SRH. Two good teams on paper, but the records have been broken by SRH. So is the pressure a little bit on GT to perform well at the home?
Yes, exactly. It will be huge pressure on JD after the backlash they had got from Chennai, the heavy margin of defeat, and the way
Yeah.
their team got folded out, but without giving any fight. But as we say, they are playing the home game, so there will be 80,000 more spectators, and there will be home support as well. So for that, that can always encourage the team like JT, which they need at right now. And it will be a clash of the captains. Pat
Okay.
Cummins, as you know, he's a more experienced captain,
Yeah.
and Shubman Gill is captaining for the first time. So I'm excited for this match. And Head and Cummins coming back to Narendra Modi Stadium. How can Shubman Gill and
Don't remind.
Shubman
No,
Gill
no, no, no. You shouldn't remind us that. You shouldn't remind us that. Let's
how can
focus on
Shubman
this
Gill
game.
can stop these two? Would be
No, no, no.
interesting.
Let's not go back there. Let's focus on the IPL game. Let's move
Yeah,
on
yeah,
to the
yeah.
head-to-head of these two teams. GT versus SRH. They have faced each other three times only. Two wins for the GT, while one win for the SRH. But on paper, SRH looks a very strong side. Can we potentially see 2-2?
That GT2 wins were in the Hardik era, and Hardik and Nehra era, and now Shubman Gill is this. But this SRS team was very good in last year as well, as we already know, but they couldn't gel as a unit. But when it comes to Pat Cummins as a captain, he's a very good captain. He has proved himself by winning everything which he is winning, be it Ashes, be it World Cup, be it WTC,
Yeah.
everything. So I guess I it's a potential. It could be a 2-2 is to 2. Like tomorrow, SRH can upset GT at home because they are
Okay.
in form and they have quite a big match winners.
When it comes to Narendra Modi Stadium, GT has a good record. Just like you said, Hardik era. They started off the Shubman Gill era, a good win versus the Mumbai Indians. But this stadium as well, can you sum it up? We can see a dominance of Gujarat Titans at home?
They are playing after afternoon match at home. Has it been an
Yep.
evening match, I would have given a slight edge to GT squared. But since it's an afternoon match, I would really want to see can they bring in another spinner, Noor Ahmed or something like that, to scuffle the top order of the SRL, because Klassen, as we know, he is good in. You play any spinner against him,
Yeah.
Klassen will always
Top class
play
player.
well. He's above class because he's above class. But they also have Makram who plays spin as well, and Head is at the top. So GT have a chance defending with have Rashid Khan and Mohit Sharma with their slow cutters and all. And let's see whether they play Umesh Yadav. Umesh Yadav is a weak link as of now. I'm thinking in the GT's bowling lineup.
Okay, we might see that, but they have quite a number of good bench warmers. They have a Kartik Tyagi as well. They can
Yeah.
bring in a Joshua Little as well. Good enough of players. Let's move on to the schedule for both the sides. And starting with Gujarat Titans, first win against Mumbai Indians in Dome, then eventually, like you rightly described, a loss against Chennai. But now back-to-back home games, Punjab and SRH. Before we move on to Lucknow to face the Lucknow Super Giants, how important are the two home games for them?
The home games are always very much important, but still I say GT has advantage playing at home with that crowd. That crowd gets behind the team. These are very much important game. If GT wins both the team, then they are in the race for the playoffs for sure.
Okay, so you're saying they have to win both the home games. If they do so, they are in the road for the playoffs. That's a very bold statement, Paji. But we'll stick to that. Going on to the opponents, they've made records at home, but they lost the game against the Kolkata Knight Riders by a barest of margins, I must say. But they have one away game today. It's a day game, and then they move on to the Chennai Super Kings game. It's a very, very big game, I must tell you, at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium. But today it's a home game. Rather, it's an away game for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, but it's a day game. Can we see a neutral game today? Because there will be no dew as well. Can Sunrisers fancy themselves today?
I love the way the template SRH has followed. Because as you see yesterday also, if you have a player like Klassen or Russell in the form, you can ask your rest five batsmen. You can go for the leatherhead from the ball one. You don't need to worry about playing dot balls or worry
Yeah.
about strike rate. You can just play your natural game and can tongue the ball from one, because you have a finisher like Klassen and Russell. They are waiting in the wings to wherever whatever the situation of the match, they will fire all cylinders.
Correct.
So yes, being an afternoon game, we have to see the wicket. In being afternoon game, it could be a placid batting track or it could be a tacky wicket as well. So
Yep.
lots of depend upon the toss, wicket condition, everything will depend. But yes, for SRH also tomorrow's game is very important because the next game are against the CSK.
Absolutely, Paji. Rightly said. We'll wait for that. But today's game is also equally important. Let's move into the best match till date between GT versus SRH. And I had to pick this game during the lockdown period when Gujarat was the inaugural champions in 2022. They defined that they are the chase masters. They had a Rashid Khan, they had Rahul Tewatia, Miller, and Hardik Pandya. Do you remember this game, Paji? It was in the last over where Marco Jansen was bowling and Rashid Khan hooked it for a six-over
I
fine
know,
leg.
I know. And Tibetia played a cameo, and Rashid
40
Khan
not
being a
out, as
player,
you can
he
see. Yeah,
almost scored 20 runs in that over. Of
correct. Marco
even
Jansen.
Natarajan couldn't stop them. So Rashid Khan was just like he was swiping the seamers for tonking the sixes. Yeah, I know. I pretty much remember that game. It was almost they were on the brink of loss where
Yeah.
Tewatia and Rashid Khan came to party and they did the unthinkable.
Absolutely right, and I think this is going to be a very close game today as well. As it's an afternoon game, let's straight away move on to the pitch report. And Paji, when it comes to the pitch report at the Narendra Modi Stadium, we always look for dew just because it's a night game, but it's a day game. Dew is
Day
not a
game.
factor. How important is the toss? Because as you can see, 13 times the team have won the toss and eventually won the game, but 15 times the teams has lost the toss and eventually went on to win the game. So it's very even, Stevens. Toss
Even
is not a
Steven.
factor, but when it comes to day game, do you think the toss is a crucial? Win the toss and potentially bat first?
Probably bat first, and we have to see the which pitch they are using. Are they playing on red soil or black soil? I got they will
Okay.
be playing on black soil because mostly at Narendra Modi Stadium you play test matches or ODI on the red soil, and T20 always they always prefer the black soil. Yes, the toss will be very much crucial.
Yeah.
As you already said, it's a day game. It's not a World Cup and ODI
Correct.
when you started chasing. The stage will start at 7:30 or 6:30 or 7:30 p.m. So I guess toss would be very much crucial. Seeing the bowling lineups for both attacks, I guess SRH would love to win the toss and bat first because GT has come qualities in Sai Kishore and Rashid Khan. And if we see the SRH attack, they can. I guess it would be interesting that in the previous match, Travis Head was being was being impacted. He was used as impact player. I guess Travis Head's bowling would also be coming to play in tomorrow's match.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to be a cracker of a game, and we might see a lot of good things when it comes to GT versus SRH at the Narendra Modi Stadium. Let's move on to the top three players to watch out for. And when it comes to these three players, Shubman Gill, Rahul Tewati, and Umesh Yadav. And when it comes to Aiden Markram, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, and Natarajan, if you can sum up all the six players, please, Paji.
I guess Shubman Gill gonna be gonna be a key. Being a captain. He needs to fire. He needs to play a big knock against Tevetia, big impact while finishing. And I guess
Yeah,
Umesh Yadav also has to raise their game. And SRH to defend or chase. I guess Adam Markham plays a very important role. Not being as a batsman, couple of his off spin his bowling also could be a handful on whatever the pitch we'll get because of the day game. And then the experience of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar getting wickets up front, then bowl in the middle and bowl in the death because there will be no dew and his knuckle balls and
yeah,
slow delivery can also work. Same goes with the Natarajan. He could be a death bowler. He could probably get a kind of a reverse or can control the ball, but it's a day game. So it could be a fascinating match. There won't be any excuse of dew and fast bowling as well
absolutely.
as fast bowling could play the key role.
Death bowling is going to be more key because both of the teams have rock solid middle order hitters, and I think death bowling is going to be equally key.
Very
Thank
very
you
much
so
very
much,
much.
Paji, for this. Let's move on to the battles to watch out for both these teams. And Paji, the biggest battle I want to see is that at the center, Henrik Klassen versus Rashid Khan. I
Rashid
think I'm
Khan.
going to watch that game out like today afternoon. But captains facing each other, Shubman Gill versus Pat Cummins. We've seen Pat Cummins holding himself later in the power play, bowling probably the fifth over, the sixth over. But when it comes to bowling your best bowler against the best batsman, we saw Mumbai doing that mistake with Jasprit Bumrah. Do you think Pat
Yes.
Cummins will come in straight away and bowl one over at least to somebody like a Shubman Gill? Similarly, Bhuvi versus Riddhiman Shah. If you can sum up all these three battles, please.
Yes, I would also be very much interested to see how. I guess the batter at the center will decide the course of the
Match?
match, whether they are batting first
Yeah.
or whether they are chasing. early wicket,
Yeah,
Rashid Khan, he could be more dangerous.
yeah,
So that would be a key batter. And for obviously the start, the openers, the I guess you mentioned right, Pat Cummins could probably come and bowl the second over or third over, and they can probably hold on Natarajan and can bowl him the fifth, give him the fifth or uh, a seventh over. Again,
yeah.
tomorrow Pat Cummins' role is very much key
Very
because
important. And he knows Ahmedabad the best, I think. He knows
yes, yes,
Narendra
yes.
Modi Stadium the
Best.
best, so he has to utilize his troops very
And
much
they
rightly.
need to silence Shubman Gill. And Shubman Gill also very good at that, and his track record at Ahmedabad is done.
Correct.
But if
Correct.
Shubman Gill when plays the power play, he goes off without getting throwing his wicket in the power play, then you are in for a super duper 100, a special Sunday
Absolutely.
from
Yeah,
Shubman Gill.
could
And
be. We
similarly,
can we can
I
start a
guess
special Sunday today between if
so.
Shubman Gill fires.
So yes,
Rightly
if
said.
Sahar can
We can
handle
see a lot of
Vishnu
battles.
Kumar
Yeah.
and Shubman Gill can handle Pat Cummins, then GT could be on a track for a good score and a good chase.
Absolutely, yeah. You can say responsibilities is the key, and Rapaji rightly described that. And this sums up the three battles to watch out for. Let's move on to the opener section now. And talking about the Gujarat Titans, no changes. These two have been doing very well, Paji. And I
Yes,
think 904 runs as a pair for the Gujarat Titans pretty much sums it up. And I think there's going to be no changes when it comes to the opening combination for the Gujarat Titans.
I don't think so. They would do any changes for this match. If they fail in this match, then probably next match or something they can do. But as of now, this is fixed. They will stick to the same opening.
Similarly, going towards Sunrisers Hyderabad, welcome back, Travis Z. What a player. He also knows Ahmedabad the best. I don't want to go to Paji, please don't get me back to what you're about
I
to
mean,
say.
you said he knows
No,
Ahmedabad
I'm
the best.
not gonna. But let's
If
see
if
that. How destructive was Travis Head in the previous game was Mumbai Indians?
Pritam, if you and me won't say, Ahmedabad crowd will make us realize what who is Travis Head.
Absolutely. But when it comes to these two, Mayank has been good so far in the two games. But Travis said, can he make or break the power play for the Sunrisers Hyderabad at the top?
Had
Yeah,
Mumbai had Tim David caught Travis Head by the first ball, you could have
yeah,
surely see the momentum what could have happened in that match. So
absolutely. And I
yes,
think that could have been
Travis
a
Head
different
would be key.
different story. But yes, I absolutely agree with this. And no changes in the opening section for the Sunrisers
Yeah, yeah,
Hyderabad as well. Let's move on to the predicted playing 11 for both the sides now.
sure.
And talking about the Gujarat Titans, no changes. But Paji, I have one change out here. When it comes to the balance of the side, I don't think so. Vijay Shankar fits right in this playing 11. So I've added a Shah Rukh Khan. They've got him in a big amount. Shah Rukh Khan adds depth, and he's also a very handy off spinner out there. So do you think Shah
Yes.
Rukh Khan at number 6 suits more rather than a Vijay Shankar into the side?
I can also think of adding that Abhinav Manohar because
Yep.
he has in the past he has done that finisher role. But how as of
Yep.
now this looks fine. This looks fine with me.
Absolutely, and I
That's the
think there
only thing
shouldn't be
I
much
can.
changes. Yeah, I think there shouldn't be
Nothing much.
much changes in this Gujarat Titans team. Maybe I'm going for a Shah Rukh Khan in place of Vijay Shankar. That could be proving
Shahrukh Khan is
handy.
fine.
Power
Shahrukh
pack.
Khan is fine. I'm just suggesting maybe Kane Williamson instead of Umar Zai.
Omar
Rest,
Zai. Okay, you're giving more experience in that middle order. I don't think so that will happen because Omar Zai is a good bowler as well. But for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, this is a set 11. Unchanged. I don't think so anybody will move out here. This is a packed 11, packed players. Nitish Kumar Reddy, I'm very excited to see him perform as an impact player. No
but do you
changes for
think
you, Pachi, in this SRH 11.
do you think they will drop Umran Malik and bring Natarajan because last game Umran Malik was there.
Umar
Natarajan was
Malik
didn't
came in
play.
as an impact player. But I don't think so there shouldn't be any changes in this SRH 11.
Yes,
This sums up.
I also
Yep.
think the same. This will be the same team, so they might not bring Umran Malik for the Ahmedabad pitch unless it's
Yeah.
a scuffed and roughed up pitch. Then they can probably use because I like the way Pat Cummins used Umran Malik. Being a
Yeah.
captain, being a fast bowler, he used him brilliantly. So almost I'm also going with the same team. But one change I can go for could be Washington Sundar in place of Shahbaz Ahmed, which brings the off spinner,
Okay.
and GT has a left-handers. Shai
Yeah. GT
Sudarshan,
have left-handers. They have a Sai, Miller,
Sai and
Tewatia.
Kevin Miller, yes. So they could
Okay,
be
and that could
possibly
be a good thing.
in place of Shabaz Ahmed could be a thing.
Tactical move. Yes, I agree
Tactical
with
move.
this, Paji. Yeah, I absolutely agree. But this sums up the predicted playing 11. Let's move on to the predictions time now. And Paji, it's between these two teams. Match number 12, GT versus SRH. Home game for the Gujarat Titans. Who do you think has the advantage in this game?
Mine says SRH, heart says GT. I would definitely give 50-50 because GT just lost one game.
Okay. Yeah.
Being a home advantage, I'm giving them 50-50. Else I would have already said 60-40.
Okay, so Paji says his mind says something, his heart says something. He's confused, but he's still going with a 50-50. That sums up the day game between these two teams. Let us know your predictions as well. It's time we move on to the second match. It's match number 2 of Super Sunday. It's the Delhi Capitals versus the Chennai Super Kings at Vizag, a stadium which Orko knows it pretty well. Orko, welcome to the show once again. These two teams, one right at the bottom while the other right at the top. 2 wins out of 2 for Chennai, 2 losses out of 2 for Delhi. How does this fixture looks like?
Well, I think this is a very important fixture for Delhi, more so because this is the kind of home advantage that they'll get. I know it's not rhetorically their home, but they have made this their home, so obviously they are aware of the conditions. So they'll like to adapt to these conditions and make the most of it and exploit it enough to get their first win on the board. But that being said, CSK has been an absolute juggernaut of late. They've been kind of unbeatable, but I think Delhi have the side who can challenge them in these particular conditions.
Pressure is on Delhi, and rightly said. Let's move on to the head to head now. DC versus CSK at Vizag. These two teams, you all know, DC definitely trailing when it comes to head-to-head records against CSK. But what does you think about this game? Can DC make it 3 losses out of it, or can they get a victory?
Well, practically looking at form, Chennai should be winning this because they have beaten tougher teams and you expect them to do well even on this fixture. But that being said, when teams are down and out, they try to fight it back. And it's a team which is led by Ponting, a team where Ponting is at the helm, doesn't really give up that easily. And this is supposed to be their home game. Maybe not their real home, but they've made this into their home. And obviously, they are aware of the conditions. And I think they will try to come all guns blazing and make a point or a very strong statement in this coming game.
Absolutely, and I think that that could be on the line because, as I always heard about the Delhi Capitals fans, they believe a lot about individual performances. But when you have to win big games, you need the team as a unit to come out all guns blazing and perform as a unit. And that is a prime example of their opponents, the men in yellow. They show what character they can show on the field. But let's go on to the schedule for both the sides, Orko. And talking about the Delhi Capitals, as I said, 2 games, 2 losses. They face the Chennai Super Kings at home, then the mighty Kolkata Knight Riders at home, both of them at Vizag. And then they go to Wankhede Stadium, which I think could be a favorable ground because Wankhede, we all know, is a run fest. So we might see Delhi exploiting the typical like a David Warner, Mitchell Marsh at the top of the order. But these 2 games, sprint friendly is expected at Vizag.
Yes, most certainly. Even in the recent test match, we have seen that it was very, very spin friendly. People like Kuldeep will have a big role to play. And I think Delhi have that experience in this particular pitch because they have been in the stadium for around a week even before the IPL. So they certainly will try to exploit the conditions that they have accustomed themselves to in this period of time. And they have the squad, they have good batting up front. They have Marsh. Marsh has got a good record in Vizag. Once, if you remember, India gave a very meager target of 130, and Marsh Warner just blasted India and finished the game in like 10 overs. So Marsh is not new to Vizag either. Warner, obviously, once upon a time, a local lad to Hyderabad to Vizag, a crowd favorite for sure. So he's someone who is not new to this scenario either. So Delhi do have the people who, if they get going, can give a lot of headache to CSK.
Yeah, but it's away from home. We will come to that when it comes to the pitch report. But talking about the Chennai Super Kings schedule, they are a team that is known for victories at the top. And they've started off 2 out of 2 right at the top of the table. But these 2 games, Delhi Capitals, they might fancy themselves to make it 3 out of 3 before moving on to the big game at the Rajiv Gandhi Stadium. I should say SRH will CSK as a big game.
Yes, most certainly, because that will be two very evenly matched sides, and Hyderabad of late is like a fortress for SRH. They have been doing well, and after that announcement that they literally made in the previous game, where they went, in a slaughtering mission on Mumbai Indians, literally finished the game by the power play itself with people like Head up front, Abhishek Sharma and Mayank Agarwal. So I think, and also the cheat code like Klassen, which they have in the middle order. So SRH is a team where all bases are covered, and so is CSK. So it will be a very evenly matched cards. And I think among the coming two fixtures, that will be the toughest game for CSK.
Okay, and this sums it up for the schedule for these 2 sides. Orko says SRH versus CSK could be a potentially very tough side, and we might see another Friday blockbuster in the coming week. But let's move on to the best match when it comes to CSK versus DC. And there are quite a few low scoring, quite a few high scoring. But when it comes to equal amount of battle, I had to pick up this eliminator where CSK eliminated Delhi Capitals and cruised on to the final. If you remember, the Tom Curran over versus the Mahendra Singh Dhoni at Dubai International Stadium. Talk us through this game. Chennai looked good. They had something of an opening pair of Robin Uthappa and Ruturaj Gaikwad. Eventually, they went on to face the Kolkata Knight Riders, if I'm not mistaken, in the final.
Absolutely, because this match was, I think, a blunder that DC made. Many people say it as maybe the most horrible captaincy errors that one could make. They had Rabada to bowl in the death, but they trusted Tom Curran, and vintage Dhoni happened at that particular night just when it mattered, and CSK cruised to the final. And Delhi, out of nowhere, who was supposed to be in the final, had to play the qualifier two against KKR, where again they incidentally lost. They made a comeback out of nowhere when 12 was
Yeah.
needed, and then there was that last ball six scenario which Tripathi slammed and took KKR to the final. But
Was it
this game, obviously,
Ravichandran Ashwin who was bowling the last over?
absolutely, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Ashwin was the bowler, and Tripathi went straight over long off and cleared the boundary. Yes, this match was among maybe in the Delhi history a big disaster because they were certainly looking, ready to enter the final. But then CSK doing CSK things, and as they call him, Thala Dhoni doing Thala Dhoni things.
And if I'm not mistaken, this was the first year of the captaincy of Rishabh Pant, where Shreyas Iyer went to KKR.
Absolutely. This was the first year, and after this, many questions were raised on the captaincy of Pant, but we all know that he's got quality, he's got the brain to lead the side, he's a keeper. So, usually, the particular scenario that Delhi developed through Pant is that a keeper can lead the side better than the outfield fielders. So, I think Pant has a huge amount of respect which he garners for this team.
Absolutely, and this sums it up the best match till date between these two sides. Let's move on to the pitch report of these two teams. And it's at the Vizag Stadium, as I said, and you know the stadium very closely, Orko. Tell us what this is. The dimensions are quite big, but when it comes to the pitch, we have seen the recently test match. It was a spin friendly. Are we expecting a spin friendly today?
Well, it should be spin friendly, and because it's Delhi's home, so they will enforce on that fact. They have two quality spinners in Aksar and Kuldeep, which can choke oppositions anytime. If Aksar can choke the flow of runs, then we never know. Kuldeep will be the prime wicket-taking option for them. So they certainly have the kind of situation where they can demand such kind of conditions from the curator of the pitch, and it's certainly a spin-friendly track. And I think Delhi would expect CSK to come hard at them, but they do have the bowlers to counter them with Nokia back as well. So I think this will be a good game. Many people are writing off Delhi, but yes, this is a ground where it will play through the strengths of Delhi as well.
You just mentioned about ground. Do you expect a 50-50 home support, or do you expect a 70-30 towards Thala Dhoni?
70-30 without any doubt, because even when I tried to get tickets for this particular game, you won't believe it, the tickets were sold out in less than 35 minutes, and literally
That's the
everyone have
craze
been
of it.
waiting. That, yeah, everyone have been waiting for this. Even when Dhoni and CSK arrived yesterday in the airport, there were fans who were thronging him. They were literally trying to clear security and enter through that particular space where they could get a glimpse of that great player. And I think this is a match where for years Vizag has waited for Dhoni to come. Maybe this is the first time CSK is playing in Vizag after maybe in the entire IPL history. So this is something that will excite the fans. And among the two fixtures given Vizag, this is the one which was most awaited for. So it will be a clear yellow army support over here over Delhi, though it is a home game on paper for Delhi.
Okay, but the way you expressed it, I think not a 70-30. We might potentially the 80-20 or more, to be very honest, when it comes to this game. But we will see a thriller today evening at the Stadium Vizag. But let's move on to the top three players to watch out for between DC and CSK. And I have these three players. I've chosen these three, Orko. Mitchell Marsh, Rishabh Pant, and Kuldeep Yadav for the Delhi Capitals. For CSK, it's Rachin Ravindra, Pathirana, and Shivam Dubey. Talk us through all the six players, especially Pant. He needs runs, but we all know he needs time to get into the game. Similarly, somebody like a Pathirana is bowling way too quick.
Absolutely. I think these are the players you have to watch out for even ahead of a Warner. Because Marsh, as I said previously, has a good record in Vizag, and even with the ball, he can bowl a few cutters. And if the pitch, is a holding type of pitch, a sluggish pitch, he will come into effect to get one or two wickets. And Pant, he has a good record in Vizag. Also, he's someone who thrives on slow pitches. If he gets a bit of sluggish wickets, he goes after the bowling. Kuldeep again, obviously, will be licking his lips to play in this particular pitch. He's done extremely well in the recent Test series, including the second Test in Vizag. So I think these three are the ones who have to see Delhi through if they have a chance against this particular team. Ravindra, as you said, is playing that literal pinch hitter role, though he's certainly a proper batsman, but he's playing that pinch hitter role, going after every bowling, trying to ensure that he scores 40-50 runs in the 15-20 balls he plays. Pathirana, again, a Yorker machine, and not just that, he's someone who bowls beautiful cutters, slow ball bounces as well, which will be effective in tracks like these. And Dubey, once again, just like Pant, a player who favors playing spin, who favors playing slow bowling, and if the pitch holds, it only makes it easier for players like him to thrive.
Yeah, and I think these six players are really good. Out of this, if I'm mistaken, we are seeing three proper hard-hitting left-handers in this list. One of Pant and two of Ravindra and Dubey. So I think this sums it up. And I'm looking forward to Mitchell Marsh once again at the top of the order. Let's move on to the top three battles to watch out for now, Orko. And this doesn't make a difference. Deepak Char versus Mitchell Marsh, somebody I can see that can be a very good battle. Shivam Dubey is not that good versus pace, especially short balls, and Nokia might be that one. And similarly, Khalil Ahmed, we have seen a lot of swing from him. Rachin Ravindra could be a threat. So talk us through these three battles and which one are you eagerly waiting to watch?
Well, I will be very eager to watch Dubey versus Nokia because Nokia right away is a bowler who loves to bowl back of the length and he will trouble Dubey. But of late, Dubey has improved his game even against bounce in that particular rib cage line that people have targeted him at. But that will be a very wonderful battle because if you let Dubey to go after you, then you're obviously at risk of losing the game because he comes in the middle overs and just goes slaughtering and you're done over there because the kind of starts they usually get through Gaikwad, through Ravindra. If Dubey goes after you, then you're finished right and there. So Delhi will eye that certainly. They know that they don't have an option of Kuldeep to neutralize Dubey over
Correct.
here because Dubey is very good against spin. And up front also Khalil will have a task in hand to get someone like a Ravindra or even a Gaikwad early. And as you mentioned in the first battle, March loves space on the ball and Cheher is someone who brings in some late swing, who can swing it both ways. So it will be a very interesting battle. He'll obviously try to look to get some nick out of Warner or Marsh and get early wickets for them. So these three battles will be very key ones. But I think I'll be most excited for the Dubey versus Nokia one.
Okay, but we had these three battles where we forgot Mr. Purple Cap, Mustafizur Rahman. In this kind of a surface, his cutters will be handy. Do you think the openers of the Delhi Capitals, Mitchell Marsh or David Warner, could be a little bit of threat, seeing Mustafizur Rahman, a left-handed bowler coming from the other end?
Yeah, absolutely. Most certainly, he can. He's someone who can, swing the ball as well as bring in some very wonderful cutters to grab wickets out there. So he will try to entice batters to go after him. And if the pitch is sluggish and holding, then it will be useful for bowlers like Mustafizur as well. But that being said, Vizag's pitch can be two-paced. Sometimes it looks like a belter, and sometimes it looks sluggish. But I expect it to be spin-friendly because that is playing into the advantage and the benefit of the strength which Delhi Capitals have because they have two premier spinners out there. So I think that's how the pitch is going to behave. And if you look at that, obviously Mustafizur would be a handful.
Okay, so you have said the six players. You've added one more bowler as well of Mustafizur Rahman. So this sums it up, the battles of these two teams as well. Let's move on to the opener section now. Starting with the home team, Delhi Capitals, David Warner, Mitchell Marsh. Orko, here is 1 point for you. Ricky Bui batting at number 3, not performing even if he's batting in the middle order. Do you tempt to have a Prithvi Shaw and slug in Mitchell Marsh at number 3? Or if the opening combination is working good for the Delhi Capitals, keep that going.
Well, that's a very wonderful question, I must say, because if you bring in Shaw, you're getting more balance because Marsh can then play at 3. Even if you lose an early wicket, Marsh can be that makeshift opener coming in early. But that being said, they are not trusting Shaw for some reason. We don't know what the reason is. So if they want to back that Aussie pair up front, then they can go for that. But at 3, instead of using someone like a Bui, if they take the chance of dropping Stubbs, I know he's been good in the previous game, but sadly could not get them over the line. If they take the chance of dropping Stubbs and playing Jake Fraser McGurk at 3, then if these three out of the three, if two of them get going, they're almost done and dusted. I would say Delhi would win this game very convincingly because these three batters are those kind of batters who can just take the game away from you. If you look at SRH, they really didn't need a Klassen or a Markram to fire because the damage was done by Head
Yeah.
and Abhishek Sharma themselves. So if they take the template into the action, I think that should be the top 3 if they don't trust Shaw, or otherwise if they trust Shaw, that will be the best thing. But then in the middle order, they'll have huge responsibility on Pant to lead that particular middle order along with Akshar Patel.
But will that be harsh of somebody like a Shai Hope who scored runs in the game number 1 to have him sidelined and having a Jake Fraser McGurk ahead of him?
Well, already it has been harsh because he has been dropped already, and they
But he
preferred,
had an
they
injury.
had to bring in
He had
Nokia.
an injury. Yeah.
Yeah, he had an injury, but we never know whether he'll be back or not. But we never know. They may even chop and change because they are a team that's losing. And when the team starts losing, obviously the bench, all of these come into effect, and the management tries to use their bench strength a little more because they are confused as to what their best playing 11 is. So they may be tempted to try someone like a McGurk, or if Hope is fit and they feel that experience is needed, if the track especially is slow in Vizag because he's a good player of spin, then certainly Hope can also come into the fray. But I think Stubbs needs to be dropped and more responsibility in the middle order should come on Pant and Akshar.
Rightly said, and we might look into that in the playing 11. But no changes for these two pairs. Have been brilliant. Pressure on Devon Conway at the later half of the innings, the way Richard Ravindra is playing.
Absolutely, very fair point. With the way Ravindra is playing, Conway's got a huge amount of pressure when he comes back, if he comes back. But this player is wonderful. I mean, I don't know how CSK makes this happen. They often get the best of overseas batters to
Yeah,
open for them.
correct.
If you look at Michael Hussey to start with, then Dwayne Smith, then Brendan McCullum, Shane Watson, then Conway, and now Ravindra. They somehow just get the best openers to open for them, and they always get blitz of starts. Like if you look at teams like KKR, where they always have a perennial opening problem, there is this team like CSK which always finds good openers, and they have been doing so for 6 to 10 years or even more than that. So this is a pair that should be untouched. I think CSK overall as a team is totally balanced, and against any opposition, they will have the upper hand.
Absolutely, and I think there's no changes when it comes to the opening pair for the Chennai Super Kings. Let's move on to the predicted playing 11 now. And Orko, I have Chennai Super Kings first for you, and it is this team which is unchanged and no debatable. But one position, a couple of here. Interesting point is Pathirana is back, which keeps out somebody like a Mahesh Deekshana out of the team. But when you look into the Delhi Capitals team, they have a David Warner, they have a Rishabh Pant, they have an Akshar Patel in the top six. Quite a few number of left-handed batsmen. You have a Ravinder Jadeja and Rachin Ravinder, two left-arm orthodox players. How important is somebody like a Mahesh Deekshana into this side? Can we see potentially Daryl Mitchell getting dropped, or potentially a Moeen Ali come in place of Daryl Mitchell to have the off-spin option?
This could happen. I mean, if you look at tactical matchups, Mitchell's role has yet not been defined for CSK because CSK has been doing well even without Mitchell performing that much. So they can take this chance because Moeen Ali is a very smart cricketer. He can bat anywhere. If you bat him at 3 or 4 or 5 or even at 7, he can bat for you. He can bat anywhere and also gives you quality off spin. He's someone who comes in, bowls 2 overs, gets you 3 wickets, and the game has turned. He has done that many times for CSK. So he'll be someone they will be tempted to look at, given the fact that Delhi have a number of left-handers out there. And I don't think that people like Santner would make into the team just yet. But yes, Tikshana is someone who will be looked at because he's again an off-break bowler, and the left-handers of Delhi will be someone they will try to unleash Tikshana upon.
So you're going towards the Teekshana, or you're going towards the Moeen Ali in place of a Daryl Mitchell?
I think I'll go for Moeen Ali because they do have Jadeja, who is a spinner, and Moeen Ali can be more than just a handful of a part timer. And if they want, if they can use in Ravindra as well, but he's a left arm spinner, and obviously the left handers are expected to go against him. But Moeen Ali would be more than enough, I feel, for that.
I absolutely agree with this, and I won't be surprised if Dhoni does this. But going to the Delhi Capitals, here is where the debate is. I made a few changes out here. Mitchell Marsh, David Warner, the openers. Number three, I have a Yash Dhul out there. Rishabh Pant at four. Tristan Stubbs keeps his spot just because he has scored runs. Abhishek Porel at six. Akshar Patel seven. Kuldeep, Nokia, Khalil, Mukesh are the remaining bowlers. I really miss Ishant Sharma here. Your point of view, Yash Dhul, or is it Shai Hope, or is it somebody else? Are you backing Ricky Boy? What's your top six? The top remaining five is not the problem. The top six is the problem.
Well, to look at it at hindsight, Ricky Bui is someone who belongs to Vizag. He's a local player of this team. So if Delhi decides that let's just give him another run, maybe for a third game and fourth game, and if he fails, we'll look at someone else, then they may. If they believe that the time is up for him and his opportunities have been exhausted, they may look at Dhul. Dhul is a very talented player. Of course, he has been under the radar with his domestic team not doing well. He was given the captaincy. People say he got too much too early as a skipper, but he's someone who's very talented. In the Under 19 World Cup, he was very impressive. He's got some good shots in the bag, and we never know, an emerging player out of him can come out. So if they want, they can use Dhul at three, as you said, or if they just want to trust complete experience above everyone else, then just bring back Shai Hope. For that, they have to avoid the finishing of Stubbs, and more responsibility comes on the heads of Porel or Pant or Aksa for that matter. So there are many things to look at. Or if Pant says that I'll play up the order, you just accommodate someone like a Lalit Yadav because CSK has a few left-handers. So Lalit Yadav can be that off spinner in these conditions who could be useful. So we never know. There are a lot of combinations they may try, but I think they may give another run for Ricky Boy just looking into the fact that this is local ground. Otherwise, they may try someone like Azul. I don't think they're going to go for Hope just yet.
But one more question. You've gotten an 8 crore for Kumar Kushagra. Do you fit him into this 11 only if Rishabh Pant decides I can bat at the top of the order?
Yeah, he should because Kushagra is someone who's very talented, and even more than Dhul, he's someone who's more expressive with the bat. And even in the Jharkhand Premier League, he was very impressive with his strike rates and stuff. So he could be tried anywhere, maybe as a pinch hitter who could maybe bat at 3 or 4, or you can use him as a finisher as well, like Porel. So this is the time where you need to make the experiments, especially when the results are not coming. I think any team will be tempted to, tinker their playing 11 and make sure that they get their best playing 11 possible. So they have the possibility of going for Kushagra as well, especially because they have given him big money.
Okay, so I think that this sums it up. The playing 11 for the Delhi Capitals with the Chennai Super Kings. It's time we move on to the predictions time. And Orko, it's a tough choice. The battle is towards the pendulum is waving towards the men in yellow. Do you see it's a 50-50 clash? And just like the fan army, do you see it's going towards the Chennai Super Kings?
I wouldn't say 50-50, but yeah, 60-40 I can say for CSK. People may say higher than that for CSK, but I do believe that Delhi have the team that can win in these conditions because they have someone in the top of the order who can go after the bowling of CSK. CSK does not have too much pace in their power play bowlers. Chahar is very deep, someone who can be dealt with easily. So I think they can go after those kind of bowlers, people like Marsh and Warner. Warner of late has been very expressive with the bat in the power play. So Delhi have that, and they also have a good bunch of spinners who can, choke the opposition. So Delhi do have a positive chance, but I think it will be 60-40 in favor of the Chennai Super Kings.
60-40 in favor of the Chennai Super Kings, says Orko. Now, I'm not surprised because they are right at the table toppers. They should be favorites. That sums up the double header time. Thank you so much to Orko. Thank you so much to Gurpal Ji as well, who was part of the show. It was wonderful having. Let's have a cracking of a game today. Double header time, Sunday blockbusters. Till then, thank you so much, everyone, for watching this show. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fifth Umpire and press the bell icon. Till then, thank you so much and bye bye.